Ladies and gentlemen, when we delve into the understanding of human behavior, it becomes evident that every individual carries a spectrum of potential within them, ranging from goodness to malice. Today, I want to address an important and often overlooked topic, the warning signs of an evil woman. It is essential to emphasize that this discussion is not about condemning women, but about recognizing behaviors that can lead to harm, discord, and destruction in relationships, families, and communities. An evil woman is not born but shaped by choices, circumstances, and sometimes even by a deep-seated rejection of moral and ethical principles. She does not appear with a label, nor does she always announce her intentions. Her actions often emerge subtly, progressively creating chaos in her surroundings. This discussion is not intended to generalize, but to educate and empower individuals to discern and protect themselves from destructive influences. Manipulation as her primary weapon. The first sign of an evil woman is her mastery of manipulation. She knows how to bend situations and people to her advantage, often disguising her intentions with charm or false sincerity. Manipulation may start subtly as slight twisting of facts, a calculated withholding of information, but over time, it escalates into complete control over those she targets. She understands human weaknesses and exploits them with precision, ensuring that her victims remain trapped in her web. Beware of the woman who speaks with a forked tongue. Her words may sound sweet, but they carry poison. She uses flattery not to uplift but to disarm, knowing that a vulnerable heart is easier to conquer. She might convince you to doubt your instincts, question your values, or even betray your principles, all while making it seem as though you are the one in control. 2, a heart rooted in deception. The second warning sign is a commitment to deceit. An evil woman thrives in lies and half-truths. She creates narratives that serve her agenda, no matter the cost to others. A life of deception becomes her playground, and she thrives on the confusion it creates. Lies for her are not merely tools for survival, they are instruments of power. She deceives with ease, weaving stories that make her appear blameless while painting others as villains. If you find yourself constantly doubting your reality or questioning what is true, consider whether you are in the presence of someone whose life is built on falsehoods. 3, a spirit of contention. An evil woman often sows discord wherever she goes. Peace is anathema to her because her power thrives in chaos. She might stir up arguments, pit people against one another, or create an atmosphere of tension and mistrust. She is the one whispering gossip behind closed doors, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of those around her. This contentious nature is often disguised as concern or honesty, but its fruit is always division. Beware of the woman who cannot celebrate unity, who finds fault in harmony, and who always seems to have a problem with others. Her goal is not resolution, but perpetual conflict. 4, a deep-seated pride. Pride is another hallmark of an evil woman. She exalts herself above others, believing that her needs, desires, and opinions matter more than anyone else's. This pride manifests in an unwillingness to admit fault, an inability to empathize, and a relentless pursuit of personal gain at the expense of others. Pride blinds her to the consequences of her actions. She may justify betrayal, dishonesty, or cruelty by convincing herself that she deserves more, that others are unworthy, or that her actions are necessary for her own success. This self-centeredness makes her incapable of forming genuine, selfless connections with others. 5, the destruction of relationships. An evil woman often leaves a trail of broken relationships in her wake. She thrives on controlling others and will go to great lengths to isolate her victims from their support systems. Whether in friendships, romantic relationships, or familial bonds, she seeks to dominate and dictate, ensuring that her influence reigns supreme. Look at the relationships she has built or destroyed. Are there patterns of betrayal, abandonment, or conflict? Has she left a legacy of hurt and mistrust among those who have crossed her path? These are not mere coincidences, but indications of a destructive nature. 6, a love for material gain over values. Materialism and greed are often signs of an evil heart. An evil woman prioritizes wealth, status, and possessions over integrity, love, and kindness. She measures success not by the quality of her character, but by the quantity of her possessions. This love for material gain drives her to use people as stepping stones, discarding them once they no longer serve her purpose. Beware of the woman whose love for riches blinds her to the value of people. She will drain you emotionally, financially, and spiritually, leaving you empty while she moves on to her next conquest. 7, disregard for moral and ethical boundaries. An evil woman often displays a blatant disregard for moral and ethical principles. She sees rules as obstacles to be overcome, not as guidelines for living a righteous life. Whether it's dishonesty in business, infidelity in relationships, or cruelty in her dealings with others, she justifies her actions as necessary for her own benefit. This lack of accountability is dangerous. It erodes trust, fosters resentment, and ultimately leads to destruction. Her refusal to adhere to principles creates a ripple effect, damaging not only those around her, but also the larger community. 8, exploitation of vulnerabilities. An evil woman is highly skilled at identifying and exploiting the weaknesses of others. She preys on those who are kind-hearted, empathetic, or trusting, using their virtues against them. She might present herself as someone in need of help or as a victim of circumstance, all to gain sympathy and access to your life. Be cautious of someone who always seems to have a crisis, who always needs rescuing, but who never reciprocates kindness or support. Her goal is not partnership, but dependency, ensuring that you are always giving while she is always taking. 9, an absence of genuine compassion. Compassion is the hallmark of a good heart, but an evil woman often lacks this essential quality. While she may feign empathy to achieve her goals, her actions ultimately reveal a cold and calculating nature. She is indifferent to the suffering of others and may even take pleasure in causing pain. Her lack of compassion is most evident in her response to the misfortunes of others. Does she show concern and offer support, or does she dismiss, ridicule, or exploit their struggles? Her reaction will tell you much about the state of her heart. 10, a love for control. An evil woman craves control above all else. Whether it's in relationships, professional settings, or social circles, she seeks to dominate and dictate. This need for control often manifests as jealousy, possessiveness, or an obsessive desire to micromanage the lives of those around her. Control is her way of ensuring that she remains at the center of attention and influence. She cannot tolerate independence in others as it threatens her power. Beware of the woman who cannot celebrate your autonomy, who seeks to bind you to her will, and who punishes you for asserting your freedom. Each of these signs is a warning, a signal to proceed with caution. While no one is perfect, consistent patterns of these behaviors indicate a deeply ingrained disposition that can lead to significant harm. Recognizing these signs is not about passing judgment, but about protecting yourself and those you care about from the influence of destructive individuals. She will often wear a mask, one crafted meticulously over time to hide her true intentions. To the casual observer, she may seem charming, charismatic, or even virtuous. But masks are never permanent. The longer you stay within her sphere, the more the cracks begin to show. It might be subtle at first, a fleeting glimpse of her temper, a moment where her words don't align with her actions, or a slip in her carefully curated demeanor. Yet those moments are invaluable because they reveal the essence of who she truly is. Her heart may be hardened by years of unresolved pain, unacknowledged bitterness, or unchecked ambition. And while every human being carries wounds and scars, an evil woman chooses to let those wounds define her, allowing them to fuel her harmful behavior. Rather than seeking healing, she seeks power. Instead of resolving her past, she uses it as a weapon to manipulate and control others. Her actions, rooted in her unresolved struggles, become a means of projecting her inner turmoil onto those around her. Relationships become her battleground, not her sanctuary. Where others might view love as an opportunity to nurture and build, she sees it as a chance to dominate and consume. Her affections, if they can even be called that, are conditional. They are given not out of selflessness, but out of a need to secure loyalty or extract something of value. And when those conditions are not met, her love quickly turns to disdain or even hatred. Her ability to discern the weaknesses of those around her is both remarkable and terrifying. She knows exactly where to strike, how to speak, and what to do to achieve her desired outcome. For the unwitting, her attention may feel like validation, a sense of being seen and understood. But in reality, it is nothing more than a strategic move. She sees people not as individuals with feelings and worth, but as tools to be used, shaped, and discarded at will. An evil woman often has an uncanny ability to switch roles depending on her audience. She can be the nurturing mother, the supportive partner, the loyal friend, or the innocent victim, all depending on what the situation demands. These roles are not a reflection of her true self, but are designed to meet the expectations of those around her. In her world, authenticity is a liability. To maintain her influence, she must remain elusive, unpredictable, and enigmatic. Her cunning is rivaled only by her patience. She is willing to wait sometimes for years to achieve her goals. She can bide her time, carefully laying the groundwork for her plans while appearing unthreatening or even benign. This patience makes her particularly dangerous because it allows her to operate under the radar, often unnoticed until it is too late. The evil woman's destructive tendencies are not limited to individuals. Entire families, organizations, and communities can bear the brunt of her influence. She has a way of identifying the fault lines in any group and exploiting them to her advantage. Her actions often leave a legacy of mistrust, bitterness, and division, with many left to pick up the pieces long after she has moved on. Her disregard for moral and ethical principles is not always blatant. She may adhere to societal norms on the surface, attending religious gatherings, participating in community events, or even engaging in charitable acts. But these actions are not born out of genuine conviction. They are calculated moves designed to enhance her image or further her agenda. Her morality is flexible, bending and twisting to suit her needs in any given moment. For those entangled in her web, escape can feel impossible. She is skilled at creating a sense of dependency, convincing her victims that they cannot function without her. This dependency is often emotional, but it can also be financial, social, or even spiritual. She positions herself as the solution to problems she herself has created, ensuring that her influence remains unchallenged. In the rare moments when her facade is threatened, she is quick to play the victim. Tears, accusations, and elaborate stories are her go-to tools for deflecting blame and garnering sympathy. She knows that vulnerability can be disarming and that many people are reluctant to confront someone who appears to be in pain. This tactic not only shields her from accountability, but also further entrenches her control over those who seek to protect or defend her. The legacy of an evil woman is one of destruction, but it is also one of lessons. For those who have encountered such a person, the experience often serves as a painful but necessary education. It teaches the importance of boundaries, the value of discernment, and the necessity of self-respect. While the scars may remain, they are a testament to resilience and a reminder to approach future relationships with caution and clarity. Though her presence can wreak havoc, it is important to remember that her power lies not in her inherent strength, but in the vulnerabilities of those around her. Recognizing her tactics, understanding her motivations, and learning to navigate her influence are crucial steps in mitigating her impact. No one is immune to her reach, but awareness and wisdom can serve as powerful defenses. She thrives on the psychological control she exerts over others. Her greatest weapon is the fear she plants in the minds of her victims. It could be fear of losing her approval, fear of public humiliation, or fear of being isolated. This fear becomes the invisible chain that binds those around her, making them hesitant to challenge her or escape her influence. What makes her particularly formidable is her ability to appear as though she is indispensable. She has a way of making herself central to the lives of her victims, convincing them that they cannot succeed or find happiness without her. This illusion is carefully constructed through subtle reinforcement gestures of false kindness, occasional support, or words of encouragement when it serves her purpose. But these acts are not signs of genuine care. They are calculated maneuvers to maintain her grip. When questioned or confronted, she excels at redirecting the narrative. Rarely does she answer accusations directly. Instead, she deflects, manipulates, or shifts the blame onto others. This ability to sidestep accountability leaves her victims feeling confused, frustrated, and powerless. It's not uncommon for those around her to begin questioning their own perceptions and judgments, wondering if perhaps they are the ones at fault. An evil woman is often adept at exploiting societal stereotypes and expectations to her advantage. If society expects women to be nurturing, she will amplify this trait to appear caring and supportive, even while she is dismantling lives behind closed doors. If society views women as victims, she will weaponize this perception to avoid responsibility for her actions. She knows how to use the assumptions of others as both a shield and a sword, protecting herself while striking at those who stand in her way. Her relationships are marked by a transactional nature. Whether it's friendship, romance, or professional connections, her primary concern is always, what can I gain from this? Genuine reciprocity and mutual respect are foreign concepts to her. She measures relationships not by their emotional depth, but by their utility. And when a relationship no longer serves her purpose, she discards it without hesitation or remorse. This lack of empathy is one of her defining characteristics. She may appear empathetic when it suits her, but this is merely a facade. True empathy, the ability to genuinely feel and understand the emotions of others, is absent. This absence allows her to inflict harm without guilt or regret. Her actions are calculated, her emotions are performative, and her concern for others is conditional and superficial. Her presence in a group dynamic is particularly toxic. She has a way of creating division, often pitting people against each other to secure her dominance, whether through gossip, insinuation, or outright lies. She ensures that unity and trust are eroded, leaving others in disarray. In this chaos, she positions herself as the central figure, the one holding the threads of control. Her hunger for control extends beyond interpersonal relationships. She seeks influence in every sphere she enters, whether it's the workplace, social circles, or even religious communities. Her methods might differ depending on the context, but her goal remains the same: to assert her dominance and bend the environment to her will. What's particularly alarming is her ability to appear virtuous. She may involve herself in charitable activities, present herself as a pillar of the community, or adopt an air of moral superiority. These actions are not reflective of her true character, but are strategic moves to mask her true intentions and gain trust. To those who do not see beyond the surface, she may appear as the epitome of goodness and grace. For those who recognize her for what she truly is, the path forward is fraught with challenges. Confronting an evil woman is not a simple task. She is likely to retaliate, using every tool at her disposal to undermine, discredit, or harm those who stand against her. This is why wisdom and discernment are critical. Direct confrontation may not always be the best approach. Sometimes quiet disengagement and the establishment of firm boundaries are more effective. Her greatest vulnerability lies in exposure. While she thrives in secrecy and deception, her power diminishes when her true nature is brought to light. This is why she often works so hard to control the narrative, ensuring that others see only what she wants them to see. Those who manage to expose her face significant resistance, but their courage can ultimately empower others to break free from her influence. Her life, though marked by cunning and manipulation, is often one of inner turmoil. While she may project an image of confidence and control, beneath the surface lies a profound emptiness. This emptiness drives her actions, compelling her to seek power, validation, and control in a futile attempt to fill the void within. Her story is a cautionary tale, a reminder of the destructive potential of unchecked ambition, pride, and malice. She serves as a mirror, reflecting the darker aspects of human nature that can emerge when morality and empathy are cast aside. And while her influence can be devastating, it also offers valuable lessons for those willing to learn. Thank you.